in Neyland Stadium coming up on Saturday at 11 o'clock Central Time, noon Eastern in Knoxville, as Tennessee trying to bounce back after the really disappointing second half against Georgia. Jonathan Crompton, along with us, former Vols quarterback, Austin Stanley of A to Z Sports. We're here to preview the game. We're going to talk here about the leash Jarrett Guarantano should have against Kentucky as Vols quarterback. We'll also discuss a little bit about the quarterback matchup, because I think Touchdown Terry for Kentucky is a very interesting matchup that we'll discuss. Then the Vols held that developmental scrimmage on Sunday where Harrison Bailey reportedly took all the reps at quarterback, which made Vol fans very intrigued as for what could happen with that. And then we will predict the end of how this Kentucky game is going to go. We'll talk about who will play on fire. All of our Vols preview and Big Orange halftime and postgame shows are brought to you by BioPure Music City, changing the standard of clean. A free consultation, 615-635-0555 to have them come out to your home or to your office, and Ashbusters Chimney Service, ashbusters.net and ashbustersknoxville.com. The pros when it comes to sweeping, inspections, and masonry. Before you light that fire in the fireplace this season, have Ashbusters out to the house, ashbusters.net. So, Jarrett Guarantano, Crompton, I'm just going to lead it off.
Yep.
What type of leash do you think he should have? There's two ways you can ask it. What type of leash should he have, and what type of leash will he have against Kentucky from Jeremy Pruitt?
I think it's the same answer. I think it's give him a quarter and maybe a couple drives and just straight up, just going into it. Look what happened with Missouri. They changed quarterbacks. Now they're actually much better team.
Yes.
So I would say, if it's me, he's getting a quarter. And if he's playing like he did the first half of Georgia, then he's going to continue to play. If not, it is what it is. We've got, at that point, you got 3 quarters to get ready for Bama, who we all know now has a head coach and AD with COVID. So It might actually buy us a little more time before then to get a younger quarterback ready. So I wholeheartedly think that this is the make or break week for Guarantano.
What's something that makes you pull the plug on it? Like, what is it? A turnover? Does it have to be something that bad? Is it just him not being on it? Like, what is that trigger point for Guarantano to get the pull?
Lack of productivity as an offensive whole, not just him, but the whole offense. Like I said, go back and look at Missouri. They just couldn't run the ball. It wasn't like he was just playing atrociously. So they put in the young freshman, redshirt freshman, and then next thing you know, we actually had to play some defense.
Right.
So it wasn't like he was doing some crazy stuff. So I think it's the same thing here. If we have a lack of productivity and we're not running the ball well, or we have a lack of spark and enthusiasm at that position, I mean, every now and then you got to show that it really means something deep inside you. Even if you go 3 and out 2 times. Go on the sideline and show some fire. Show like you have something in your rear end. And when we don't show that, that shows to the coaches that, hey, now might be the time that we need to start moving on for the future, because this year, not saying it doesn't mean anything, but it is an odd year, and it's a free red shirt. Let them play. So that's why I think this is going to be that make or break week for him. And I truly think that he doesn't make it through this week.
So you're expecting Pruitt to pull Guarantano a little bit?
Personally. I could be wrong.
Right.
But I really think that this is going to be that week, because especially kind of what happened with Alabama and Saban getting COVID. Okay. We don't know what those implications are. We don't know how he's going to react, all that stuff, right? But I fully expect that game to be postponed against Georgia. I do. I think Saban has enough pull that I think he's going to pull his strings to say, I'm not going to not coach against the number 3 team.
I know we talked about that yesterday on the phone.
Yeah.
The more that it gets, that we remove from that game's going to happen. I don't think the SEC will let.
I hope it does.
That. Right.
I hope it does. But I kind of side note, I think his deal is he's gonna bitch and moan that 2 other games are postponed, so he deserves to be postponed. All this. That's just how Saban works.
Right.
But whether that happens or not, this gives us a chance to have a young quarterback at least get 3 quarters. ready to play them going into a bye week for the last half of the season. We expect to hang in there against Alabama. We don't really expect to win necessarily because they're really, really, really good and they're really deep. I think we can. Some things got to go our way. So that's why I think this week, I think he gets a quarter and you might see Bailey. I know I said last week, oh, well, he's going to jump guys, but hell, he took all the reps in a getting everybody ready scrimmage. He took all the reps.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I want to get to next here. Charles says the first time Guarantano drops that head, he needs to be pulled. What are your thoughts on Guarantano's overall body language and kind of how he's carried himself as a quarterback, body language style throughout his career?
Well, I've stated this to you off air. I think he's a great young man. I think he's the type of kid that a father would say, my daughter brings that home, I'm okay. But that means nothing when you step between the lines on a football field.
Mm-hmm.
If you do not have, and I'm not saying he doesn't, but sometimes you got to show it. You know what I mean? Tom Brady is the most unathletic dude I've ever been around. Okay. His fire, watch him on the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Watch how he gets excited after a touchdown and just goes freaking nuts. I know you got to stay level, even keel, but every now and then you got to show a little bit of enthusiasm and something about you. You're playing football, one of, if not the most testosterone-fueled sports in the world outside of probably rugby. You got to show something every now and then. I don't care what position you play. And so I think that he hasn't shown a lot of I've got, and I know he's been beat up, but every now and then, man, you just got to look deep inside. And I don't think he showed that. And I think that, like they said, if he drops his head, man, every now and then you got to stick your chest out. You know what I mean? And look at the kid from Missouri. He doesn't know what he doesn't know.
Right.
He's balling though. Sometimes that's an advantage. So this might be the advantage to let a young freshman play when things do happen against Kentucky to get ready for the cream of the crop against Bama. Let him know who cares? He doesn't know what he doesn't know. Let him sling it. Then, and I'm going to throw it out there. I'm looking at the stats. There is no reason, zero reason, with the athletic ability we have a wide receiver that our third leading receiver is a running back.
Yeah. Well, and I guess
that bugs me. That bugs me. And I'm not taking that's a kudos to Greg, but that bugs me.
Right.
As a quarterback, at a certain point, man, we got to throw it, and that's what I think. Bailey, or not necessarily Bailey, it could be anybody else, but we're all kind of assuming it would be Bailey.
Kimberly says the team loses confidence when JG loses confidence. David says, I'm a big Maurer fan. I just he would pick a new quarterback and keep him in for a full game instead of trying a new quarterback for a few plays, then putting Jarrett Guarantano back in. So you're saying the leash for Jarrett Guarantano, in your opinion, is one quarter. If he doesn't have the juice, you're not even asking for an interception or a turnover.
No.
If he just doesn't have the juice and there's no flow in the offense, you're saying go with somebody else. I think for Jarrett Guarantano to be pulled, in my opinion, I think Pruitt's going to wait longer than just one quarter, or it might be the second turnover. I think if JG has a turnover and it might be like one of those bad luck type of turnovers that's not necessarily his fault, they'll keep him back in there. But if it's that second turnover, or if it's halftime and Tennessee's offense only has like 2 scoring drives, like 2 field goals or something, I think that's where you see Pruitt make a change at halftime.
And you might, but I'm telling you, man, let's go with a hypothetical situation. These are always fun, right? Say we get the ball first. We don't do crap with it.
Yeah.
We just crap the bed.
Three and
out, or something, some fluke deal, and we get a first down on the first play. Next thing you know, it's 4 and out, right? We punt it. They get a lengthy drive. We don't get the ball back till, a little over halfway through the quarter, and we go 3 and out again. You're not going to live with that much longer. I'm telling you. In the sense of, that's why I'm saying it all depends on how he plays. He might not turn the ball over. We might just have 8 plays. Or, you know what I mean, where they're moving the ball and our defense is staying on the field too long, that we got to do something to get some momentum. And if you're going to change, you just do it, at least for the rest of the game. and you knock it out, and then you can always do the coach's deal. Oh, we're going to compete during the week, blah, 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 all that crap, right? But if you change, you're changing for that game. And you're saying, man, we're riding or dying with you. You better make me look good, because just getting a new extension, got it. Now the Rumbles out there, I know we're 2-1, but I mean, let's call it like it is. We're not playing that great on offense.
No.
We're throwing for 221 a game. That doesn't cut it in SEC unless you're running for 350 plus a game.
Not doing that either.
And we're not. We ran for minus yards last week. So now that's when the buzz starts coming out. We're going to have to do something to change our momentum in our favor even before the game starts.
A to Z Sports Big Orange Vols Preview Show, Tennessee, Kentucky, coming up on Saturday. There was that secret developmental scrimmage on Sunday, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to ask Jonathan Crompton, what does that mean that Harrison Bailey gets all those snaps? But first, let me tell you about BioPure Music City. They're one of the presenting sponsors that makes the Big Orange Game Day shows happen. BioPure Music City, it's hospital-grade disinfectant, EPA registered and approved for coronavirus, no harmful residue on surfaces, so it's safe for your electronics, your office, and your pets. It's quick and non-invasive because they have the electrostatic spray system that's fantastic. They've sprayed my computer, and it kills germs on impact. BioPureService.com, 615-635-0555. You have a free consultation with BioPure Music City. So check them out here on the Vols Preview Show. What is this Sunday scrimmage? How often does it happen? And what do you think Jeremy Pruitt's thinking with it?
First off, I love this because I don't know how long it's going to last. And it's to get your young guys ready to play. And if only one quarterback's taking the snaps, that right there is – you don't have to read between many lines there.
Was it just created to get Harrison Bailey more snaps? Or is he actually – obviously he wants to get a lot of guys snaps. But
you want to get guys reps, but it's a coincidence maybe, right? But to me, it's not that big of a coincidence. I really think it's, hey man, we need to see what he can do. He didn't get many reps during camp because of being, all the COVID stuff going around. We're gonna have some scrimmages. He's gonna take all the reps because we saw what the guys during camp can and cannot do. Now's his chance. Well, what better time to get reps than during the season? You know what I mean? The ball may have fallen his way so well in this by not being able to get the reps during camp that now he's getting all the reps day after games when the coaches are watching you getting ready for prep week. I truly think that in some way, shape, or form, this was created to get him ready. I do. And I love it. I freaking love it.
What was it? It was the week after the South Carolina game. I said there needs to be a plan to get Harrison Bailey ready for Arkansas because you have the bye week after Bama and you have Arkansas and you want to go back and try to see how many games you can win the second half of the year. Now, Rob said it's a free year anyway. And technically, yes, it is a free year, but it's not a free year when it comes to recruiting and when it comes to optics in recruiting. And I think that's why I think Jarrett Guarantano plays the Kentucky game because they have to have that win. I don't think you can go mess around and risk losing to Kentucky by playing your freshman quarterback who hasn't had many snaps. I think you have to have the game that bad.
No, you're right. We have to have Kentucky, but our defense is good enough to beat Kentucky without our offense right now. Or I say that I don't. You know what? It could be, but you know what? That's the expectation. Is our defense is good enough to beat Kentucky without having 500 yards of offense. It's just the reality. So at the end of the day, you're right. Going into a bye week, we want to have somebody ready. But why not go ahead and have them ready to already have a little bit of experience going into the bye week? So now as the coach, you know how to game plan a little better for his skill set. And that's the reason why I'm telling you, dude, I'm a quarter, maybe 2 drives. If we're not rolling, I'm sorry. I think he's up. I think he's done with. I'm not saying for the whole year, but for at least that game. And they're going to do the whole, we're competing during the week, all this stuff, competing during the bye week, going week to week. Because they're never going to let us know just straight up because that's not a competitive edge. But on the inside, we would know. like straight up. So that's why I'm thinking, truly, this is the week. Because now, if JG would have played great, like in the second half, this conversation would be null and void. But guess what? He didn't.
Right.
And we got our ass blown out.
Yes.
We can't afford that when it comes to recruiting right now. You can't.
No, David.
So what's this? What if you're a receiver in high school and you come from a run and gun system, and then we go out and we keep JG and we lose to Kentucky? No. Deuces. I'm going somewhere. But if you come in and you see them, hey man, they completely switched and they opened it up and went spread, and now receivers are finally catching the ball. Hey man, I'm back on board. It's all a recruiting tool. And you hit the nail on the head, though. This Sunday scrimmages are to get him ready. It's just the bottom line.
That's all it's for. It's a big thing about Harrison Bailey, which I love it. I just don't think – look, the Kentucky game is going to be interesting. We're going to be live at halftime, so we're going to be able to react to kind of where we're at in that game-like situation. We throw some hypotheticals out there, but we really can't know until you're in it, until you're feeling it. Because, look, I'm not like completely against like if – Guarantano comes out for that early noon kickoff and looks like he's sleepwalking out there. They've got to get some juice. And Brian Maurer, as inaccurate as he's been at times, brings juice. Like he brings energy to the offense, and he did several times last year. But I do think Buchanan says point to Crompton right there. Charles says was JG overrated, or did the UT coaching staff and UT coaching carousel ruin him? Do you want to? I mean, we can dive into that.
I'll dive into it. Do your thing. I'll go in a minute. Well,
I think it's obviously both. I think Jarrett Guarantano was he was misevaluated as a dual threat quarterback coming out of New Jersey. New Jersey's not known for like the best high school football in the world.
Pocket passer. He should have been a pocket passer, not dual threat.
Should have been pro style pocket passer. I think Jarrett Guarantano has the physical tools, and what I mean by arm talent, and enough athleticism. I think it's all right here. I think it's all between his ears on how long it takes him to process things. And then when he's thinking too much, his feet stop. When his feet stop, he gets inaccurate. And I guess because of offensive coordinator after offensive coordinator, Butch Jones mishandling a bunch of different things. And then Tyson Helton was a weird fit with Pruitt to begin with. And then Chaney seems like a better fit, but it's almost too late. Has he been ruined? So I think I would put more blame on the Butch Jones coaching staff just because I think they deserve it. Well, Butch Jones. Look
at him. The Butch. No, hey, man, I'm going to call it like it is. Overrated is a hard thing to say when it comes to sports, okay? So I'm going to leave that part alone because that's null and void to me. The confidence that he lacks right now. First of all, he's had more confidence this year than he had in a long time, which should say something.
Right.
Right. The confidence that he lacks at the most important position in professional sports or collegiate sports is dumbfounding right now. And guess where that comes from? Yeah, it comes with an and. But if I don't have a coaching staff to ever say, you're my guy, yeah, you're going to throw picks. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. Remember, dude, the stat last week, he's only thrown 14 interceptions in 4 years.
Right.
Well, you know what that tells me, though? He's not willing to take the chances downfield.
Right.
Well, where is it? That is a lack of coaching and giving your team a competitive edge. And it all started with who was his coach's freshman year. Let's call that like it is. Hey, and unfortunately, or fortunately, we might say for this week, because he's down in Tuscaloosa coaching. I would love for them to let him coach this week. It'd be great. But that is my thing. I really think he was never given, or not given. He was never made to have the maturity. And I said it publicly his freshman year. This kid's got to mature.
Mm-hmm.
That comes from a lack of coaching.
Yeah,
he's never been helped. Now, is that his fault? No, but also you got to take self-ownership.
Sure.
So I think, and that's where it is leading onto the field. But guess what? I hate to say it right now, especially for the expectations of the University of Tennessee, man, it's too late now. I hate to say it, and I love the kid to death. I like watching him play, but at the end of the day, we got to get results.
I don't like watching him play.
No, but you know what I'm saying, and I'm not saying like I'm not saying that if I'm starting a new college, he's not going to be my pick.
Yeah.
But you can tell he's a good team guy.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, man, I got to have a dog back there. I got to have somebody that says, I want the ball. With a minute 10 to go, no timeouts, 90 yards to go, we're going to win. Don't worry. Just sit back and watch. We don't have that guy on the field right now.
Yeah, and Rob says, I don't want to hate on the kid either, but it's reality. And I said that we were talking on the phone yesterday. Like, Jarrett Guarantano is Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota is Jarrett Guarantano. Just
the
one's
best,
in college and one's
right there.
And it's just it's the mentality. I think you're right about the whole. Like I think the fan base plays a role in this too, because Jarrett Guarantano knows this. The first mistake he makes, he's going to get absolutely torched all over social media, and that probably affects his play at some times because he
can. Hell, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
All right, and because at the end of the day, man, I'm 33 years old. It is what it is. If people don't know the BS that really happened, nobody knows the inside tracks except the people that are there. Man, if I threw an incompletion, that 104,000 people booing, suck it. How about that?
And you felt that personally.
Like no, because my mother got told, I hope your whole family effing dies during a game. You know what? At the end of the day, that takes an effect on him.
Sure.
And that's in his head. But at the end of the day, man, at a certain point, you got to suck it up. You got to take a deep breath and say, their opinion doesn't mean you know what to me.
Mm-hmm.
I can play ball. And for whatever reason, that mentality is not being shown by him for whatever reason. Yeah. And unfortunately, I think this is that week that not having that mentality could bite him in the rear end.
Yeah, and we could diagnose the personality and why he's maybe not fit to be a quarterback, because of you have to have a different personality, a unique personality to play that position. A to Z Sports Vols Preview Show, Tennessee at Kentucky. We're going to have Crompton predict the game in a second, but also we want to ask you guys, who is one Vol player you think could catch fire against Kentucky? And I don't think either of us have been really right in our predictions the last couple of weeks when it comes to this, but who is one Vols? Did you get somebody right?
No, but still.
Okay. Who is one Vols player who could catch fire Saturday versus Kentucky? But first, let me tell you guys about the people who keep the fire in its place. That's the Ashbusters Chimney Service, your chimney experts, ashbusters.net and ashbustersknoxville.com. Sweeping, inspections, masonry. If you want to cuddle up to that fireplace this fall, this winter, make sure it's inspected. Make sure there's no cracks. Make sure it's swept, because that's the safest thing you could possibly do when lighting an actual fire in your house. Ashbusters.net is where to go. They have locations in both Nashville, serving Middle Tennessee, and in Knoxville, getting the East Tennessee area. So check them out, ashbusters.net and ashbustersknoxville.com. Here on the Vols Preview Show. Crompton, who's one Vol player you think could catch fire on Saturday versus the Wildcats?
Jalen Hyatt. I know I've been wrong a couple of times. Thanks for pointing that out. I appreciate that.
Well, same. Me too. I said Alontae Taylor, and Alontae played fine.
Yeah, I'm with you. But note if you watch the offensive schematics the past couple weeks, he's been on the field a lot more. And it's why I'm thinking that, like I said, I'm predicting that this is the week that Bailey or somebody gets in. And I like Hayek. I mean, he's in more offensive sets now. He's actually getting game time, and you can tell they like the kid. Sure. I'm a believer. I like his height. I like his length. And you can tell he's good on the deep crossing routes. Well, if you go back and watch Chaney over the years, he's been successful with deep crossing routes. So why not let that affect a team that we should beat? You know what I mean? So that's my prediction is him, but it's going to be when a new quarterback is in.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting, like young dude with speed at wide receiver, just let him run away from people on those deep crossers.
And that's why, like I said, at the quarterback position, and we're going to have to, a certain point, do the Missouri and let somebody play and let them, because they don't know what they don't know. What they do know is I came in the same class as this guy, and he's really fast. I mean, at a certain point, that's what college football has gotten to.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
You know, I mean, that's I like it a lot. I think he's going to blow up this week. I really do, and start to be a household name.
So Skylar says Eric Gray will catch fire, asking who's one Vol player who could catch fire Saturday versus Kentucky. Charles says let Bailey play all year. Should use this free season to that advantage. David going with Jalen Hyatt. We got Ramel Keaton from Scott when Bailey relieves Jarrett Guarantano. Clint going with Jalen Hyatt. Skylar with Brandon Johnson. I'm becoming more and more of a Brandon Johnson fan as I watch this guy play. He's really tough. He plays hard-nosed wide receiver, and you gotta like that.
He's the guy that if you gotta have an over-the-middle catch, you know who's getting it.
Yeah,
he's gonna take the hit.
Rob says
I love
Jones that. Or Brandon Johnson. Dom going with Velus Jones. Skylar with Velus Jones. Eddie going with Samaglia, but he's kidding. So I think Velus Jones is a fun player too. I'm gonna go. I like kind of going defense with this answer. I don't know why I like doing this. Maybe because it's like
you're that guy. I'm just kidding.
But we haven't talked about Terry Wilson yet and touchdown Terry, and I think the Vols defense needs to be able to be disciplined. They have to stay in their lanes. They can't get greedy. They can't play selfishly on defense. They have to play their assignment. And Henry To'oTo'o, he's taken care of. He's basically eliminated from who's going to catch fire because the guy's the walking human torch.
He's already caught fire a long time ago.
Exactly. So Henry To'oTo'o is off limits for the rest of the season during this question because he is already on fire. But I think here's an interesting one. I don't know how you feel about this. I think Quavaris Crouch needs to have a good game because if you look at Quavaris Crouch, who's playing next to Henry To'oTo'o, and what Terry Wilson and those running backs are going to do in the run game and some play action pass there, I think Quavaris Crouch needs to eye discipline, all those buzzwords. He's going to have to be on it to make sure that the Kentucky can't run for 300 yards because if Kentucky runs for 250 or more, they might win this game. If they run for 150, I think Tennessee wins this.
Well, no, exactly. Well, and you hit the nail on the head though with who we got to stop. Everybody knows it. If you stop Wilson, you stop Kentucky. You know what I mean? That's just that's what we have to do. We're gonna have the linebackers on defense are gonna be one of, if not the most crucial deal this week. He's averaging about 75 yards a game rushing. Mm-hmm. Now he's only throwing for 150 a game, but hey, like we talked about earlier, that's pretty high for him. So if we have to contain him, linebacker is going to be key. So, but you're right though, To'oTo'o is off limits. It's like picking, you can't pick a 5.
Yeah,
you got to go off kilter here. So I agree, but he's going to be the key. Not necessarily. I'm talking about for the whole game, not necessarily our guys.
Right.
If we stop him, we got a good chance. If we're containing him, right, and we're in the game, and it's close. What's up, Harrison Bailey? I mean, we got to do something to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
We have to. But he is the absolute key, and that's why I like your pick. I really do.
Good. I like it. I like when people like my pick. That's a good thing.
That.
A to Z Sports Vols preview show. Vols -6 at home against Kentucky. Kentucky's 1-2, but that win against Mississippi State was a weird thing. I mean, this is 6 interceptions. Mike Leach's offense gets shut out, which I don't know if that's ever happened before.
Sorry. Man, Mike, that's nothing to Mike Leach. He don't care.
Yeah, I went fair. But again, like Kentucky didn't have a great game offensively. They did have a pick 6, which if you get 6 interceptions, you're probably going to return one for a touchdown. The odds are pretty good there. How do you feel about this game? Vols are 6-point favorites. So how do you feel about it overall?
I think we win, but I think Kentucky covers.
If I had to, yeah.
That's just I can't go again, and it's hard for me to say that. I think Kentucky covers because so I'm going back. I think we're going to make a QB change. So therefore, I'm not expecting us to blow them out. I think it's going to be close, but we're going to also see some grit and from somebody, whoever that is, that's playing behind center. We're going to have to. So I'm going to pick Kentucky to cover, but us to win.
Danny says the defense needs to wrap up. They go for big hits, but don't wrap up. At times, that was a Jeremy Banks.
That's college football nowadays, which is just
and specifically against Georgia,
but
that was a time of possession situation.
Well,
that was a defense being flat out exhausted and not being able to finish the tackle.
Man, I don't even want to bring up that nightmare.
All right. Sean says Tennessee covers. We'll see what happens. Anyway, regardless, we will be here at halftime show. Jonathan Crompton, Austin Stanley, A to Z Sports, Big Orange halftime show, Big Orange post-game show during the Kentucky game. So wherever you're watching right now, we'll be here again. So we'll love to see you on Saturday. Everybody have a great end of the week, and we'll see you Saturday afternoon. Thanks for watching, guys.